Okay, what I've got here, this big calipers here is set for the nostril wings on this second head form. They match, okay, they match the nostril wings on the replacement nose. In fact, they're just a shade wider, which in the case of this buck, the way his skin let out, is going to be much, much better. Now, I would recommend, you want to determine if this is going to be a proper fit for any head form. Measure from the bottom jaw to the top, right at the back of the replacement nose. Okay? Right at the back of the replacement nose. And take that and transfer it to the head form, just to make sure that you've got the same rise, the same angle on your form as you do on this. It'll avoid a lot of problems. I also checked the measurement behind the nostrils on the side of the muzzle. They match this one really very, very well. They match very well. The chin on this looks a little wider, but that's okay because that's a big deer cape that I've got. But I've just measured the chin measurement on here. And yeah, okay, this chin is just a little bit wider. I don't care about that. I got to pull the cape out of the freezer now. I froze it. Gonna let it thaw. And then I'm going to dry fit it to this form. I'm going to reset the antlers on this form, see how they set up. All right. I'm going to pull the cape out of the freezer. I'm going to dry fit it to this form. It may take a little bit of stretching to get it around this neck. All the measurements on this form are 1 inch larger than the previous form, but for the size of his antlers, I think it's going to be a hell of a lot better. Okay, we've got this the second head form ready for the cape. The cape right now is out and thawing. I went ahead and I created the slots for the lacrimal gland skin, hollowed out the nostrils, cut the lip slots. I reset the antlers using fresh Bondo and a fresh batch of Excelsior under here. Held it until I got my measurements correct. On the left, it measures from the burr to the rear corner of the eye, where that would be 2 1/4 inches. On this side, we've got 2 1/8. So the measurements here are correct. Like I say, all I'm doing now, I'm waiting for the skin to thaw. I'm not going to scratch up the surface until I test fit the skin. Right now, the foam has got a nice smooth skin. The foam has got a nice smooth skin that will assist me in pulling the cape over. So until that time, I'll wait for the skin to thaw, make a test fit, pop everything off, put everything back on, set the eyes, scrape the foam down, set the eyes, apply the hide paste, mount this puppy up, and then happy trails. All right, I got the cape all nicely thawed. I'm going to fold it over on itself. to expose as much of the head section as possible. I'll slip it on the form. I hope to slip it on the form. Like so. And down we go. Let's pull the head over. Pull the back of the head section around the back of the head form. Unfold the cape from itself, where it folded over on itself. This is just a dry test fit right here now. Remember, everything on this deer is an inch bigger than on a previous form, which means that instead of a 20.5 inch neck, this now has a 21.5 inch neck. Instead of, what was it, 22 down here, it's 22.5, it's 23.5. This was 26. Down here on the other form, it's now 27. The nose to eye on this form is, instead of 7.5, it's now 7 3/4. But after putting the antlers on it yesterday, sizing the antlers to the size of this form, I really think this form is going to do the deer more justice. Now I've got my route stuffer, what I like to refer to as my deer cape come along tool. Go. Well, that's lining up real nice. Real nice. It's fitting around the shoulders, the larger shoulders, not a problem. The head section is filling out here beautifully. As you can see, the ears have already been lined. The liners are already in the ears, of course. That was shown in another video. I'm bringing this down and along. Hello, Miss Coco. Our little black cat Coco she likes to hang out and watch Daddy work. Little Miss Coco likes to hang out and watch Daddy work. She's always right behind me. She's right there. There she is, little girl. Now let's get back to this job here. We can play with Miss Coco later. Looking good. It's fitting real well. Looking good, fitting well. Look at that. There's no tight areas on this. It's not fitting tight anywhere on this form. Let me get the, again, this has got the split brisket, and that needs to be stitched up before it's mounted. I use a locking running stitch on that. This will close around the back wonderfully. The antlers were not screwed down, they were simply bondoed down, and when I came in this morning I just popped them off. Wow, this is nice. This is fitting really well. This is fitting beautifully. I think my client's going to be happy. He's going to get back the big deer that he originally should have gotten the first time. So the only reason I ordered the size form that I did was I went by the given measurements when I bought the cape. And the given measurements for the cape were 7.5 nose to eye with a 20-inch neck that could possibly go to 21, possibly. Now I've ordered capes before, and what turns out possibly is really usually a no-go, but these Minnesota deer, I think these things came from Minnesota. Man, they are big. Beautiful winter coat. Deep, deep winter hair. Undercoat, guard hairs. Beautiful. Let's fit the antlers real quick. To the right spot. All right, there we go. Perfect. Get these up around here like so. The eye sockets line up. The face is lining up. Nose to eye is lining up perfectly. Whoop, don't fall down. God damn it, don't you fall down. Get over here. There we go. Eye sockets are in the right place. Nostrils are in the right place. Lower jaw is lining up beautifully. Oh man, I'm happy with this. I'm happy with this. All right. The cape, all the work's been done to the cape. Just want to make sure things line up here. I want to get a rough fitting of the nose pad, nostril wings. Make sure they do. They line up beautifully. They line up just right. Very good. Brushing. Get the hair under control. There we go here. Beautiful. Beautiful. That will tuck perfectly on that side. Perfectly even on left to right is lining up in the perfect place. There's no white hairs showing around the nostril opening, which is what you want. The only thing I need to do is to trim back some of this lip skin a bit. Other than that, and then of course stitch up the brisket. But other than that, man, everything is lining up perfectly. No untoward wrinkles in the skin, or wrinkles that you don't want from where it's bunching up on itself. Now, the face, which was a little baggy on the first form, on the original head on the first form, is no longer baggy here. This will pull up beautifully, glue down, get everything in place. There's enough room left here for the earbuds to be installed. This is really, really nice. All right, onward. Now to pull the cape off, it's a reversal of how it went on. I work the cape up the neck of the form. I'm like pulling off like pulling off a tight girdle. I'm going up the head like so. I reach the back of the head, grab the head skin, work it off like so, and up it comes. There we go. Now I'll be drilling out the eye sockets with a 1/4 inch spade bit, and I will rough up the surface of the form like I did previously. Put the point right in the center of the eye socket. And go slow. And just even it off a little bit. There we go. Do the same thing to the other side. A couple of things that bear mentioning here. When I scuff up the face, I'll go from back to front, front to back. but I keep it along these lines here, okay? That's the direction that the cape gets pulled onto the head form. When I hit the neck, I go downward, scrape the neck downward. Same thing with the back of the neck. Basically, I want to scuff up the form in the direction that the cape is going to be pulled, okay? If you come across this way, you're going to create drag, and it's going to make things tougher than they have to be. So, again, we go forward on the face, or front to back, back to front on the face, but we go this way, the direction the cape's going to be pulled, and on the body of the deer, and the neck, we go back and down, like so. Get out to the shoulders. I go down the neck and then curve and go back towards the back of the shoulders. I'm basically following the path the cape will take when it's being mounted. Another thing that should be mentioned, the opening of the nostrils. Now they look a little large, and they are. Before the cape is put on the form, I'm going to get in there with my epoxy sculpt, and I'm going to reshape the nostril interiors. I have to cut down the center, install a septum, but then I need to sculpt the interior of the nostrils. That means that I go from the front, I go back at an angle and join the septum. I lift the floor of the nostrils just a little bit so that they're level. Okay? I need to make a little section right here, bringing this forward a little at an angle so that it's not just a hole going through the nose. You don't want a hole. You want a shape. And I use photos of live deer as well as some castings off of some dead specimens and the replacement noses from HQ. I'll also use the replacement noses from not Buckeye, they're no longer Buckeye, Ohio Taxidermy Supply. They have nice interior detail on their noses. Unfortunately, most noses are done in a flared pose. I like my deer alert but relaxed. I don't want them to look like they're a racehorse, they're not blowing. I want them alert but relaxed. So the overall look of the deer is going to be contained in its expression, in its ears, eyes, and nostrils. That's an important point to remember.